Right, I see Erin. There she is. Doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Good to see you. Let's see. I see Sophia and I see Julia. Sophia, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Good, good, good. What about Julia?
I can also hear you.
All right, great. All right, I heard it's a little chilly in Wilmore. Is that true? Just a little?
It's very cold today.
Yeah, that stinks. It's only going to be 80 here today, which is, I don't know how I'm going to do it. No, I won't say that because I always got really mad at my buddies who would spend the winter in Florida. I just thought it was just rude. There's Ellie. How are you, Ellie?
Hi, Dr. Ross. I'm doing good today.
Good. Let me see if I can hear you. Okay.
Um,
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. All right. All right. We'll wait another minute and we'll get going. Okay. I'll tell you what we'll do between us. Um, the next person in is going to explain marketing myopia to the class. So that's what we call random selection.
I think some people were struggling to find the link because they thought we were meeting through Asbury Live, and so
Uh,
they didn't know to look in the week one folder. So
oh, wow. Well, thank you for that.
you're welcome.
Right. I see Zoe and Becca. There's Eleanor. There's Lucy. Okay. Everybody's rolling in. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I appreciate you guys being flexible, particularly uh, with me being out of town. But for better or worse, with COVID, we learned that technology allows us to keep moving forward, um, even when we're separated physically. So, right. Well, two things we're going to do today. The first thing is to um, have a dialogue about marketing myopia. And like I mentioned a couple of times, we, those of you that had me for 241 would have recalled reading that, although it might be sort of a distant memory. But what I want to do is have um, several of you talk about sort of the essence of the article, and then number two, sort of putting your marketing research hat on how you might use that article to inform your perspective on marketing research and the kind of research, or really the objectives of your research that you would want to do based upon this article and how it, uh, is intended to inform business executives to avoid um, basically destroying their company because they are not necessarily malicious, but they are ignorant. So let's see. Where is Lucy Kate? Lucy Kate, are you here?
Yes,
How are you, young lady?
I'm good. How are you?
I am okay. I was just saying it's a tad warmer here than where it is where you guys are. So
Well,
I'm
that's
sorry
good.
about that. Yeah, well, I'm sorry for you guys. Yeah, Lucy, Kate, tell us a little bit about marketing myopia.
Yeah, so marketing myopia is essentially like a term that centers around the reality of producers focusing too much on the product and not on customer needs or wants. And so at the end of the day, there's a decline in what's being produced because of that.
Yeah, yeah. Can you think of any examples either from the article or maybe in your own, experience that you have seen where that marketing myopia might have been a key factor?
Yes, like are you saying in like the decline of
Yes, the decline. Yep,
I mean, I feel like one that's really obvious is Blockbuster.
yep,
I remember we talked about that before.
sure.
But also like a company like J.C. Penney. The same thing has happened in that company as well.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about J.C. Penney. So, from your perspective, why would you sort of call them out relative to, maybe they didn't pay attention to the advice of Dr. Levitt?
Yes, yeah. I feel like JCPenney just didn't adapt to customer preferences. And so they were seen as more of like a department store, where in reality, if they would have been able to see the needs and the wants of the customers, they could have shifted their focus and probably seen success in the long term instead of seeing the decline that they have seen due to this kind of like one track mindset of remaining a department store.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yesterday, I was reading that Neiman Marcus and Saks Fifth Avenue, they merged, I think, within the past year. They have declared bankruptcy. So, if we think about it, Julia, what sort of extending on what Lucy Kate was talking about, what do you think would have been really good research questions for Neiman Marcus and Saks Fifth Avenue to be asking years ago that would have reflected Dr. Levitt's advice?
I would say really focusing on like what customers currently like about the company, what they're not satisfied with. And I think also looking at how customer behavior has currently been changing, because I know like with other companies nowadays, people who don't have very robust like online options,
Right.
that can really harm their business
Yeah.
because online shopping has become so much more prevalent with customers. So I think trying to look at um, not only what customers want, but how they're expressing their wants in how they consume things.
Yeah, I really, really like that. Right. So, Um, I'm going to assert uh, a retailer that I think may be heeding um, Levitt's advice, and then you guys tell me if I'm all wet or if you think this is logical. Um, Tiffany's. You guys know what Tiffany's, the jewelry store, is? Yeah, so I would say that Tiffany's is an example of um, recognizing that while Tiffany's is of course, a high-end jewelry store, that they recognize that they aren't simply a reseller of fine jewelry, but they, um, I would say, sort of touch on an experience that people either would like to have or they enjoy currently. And they're able to deliver on more than simply handing you a box and you hand them money. Um, what do you think about that? Ellie, do you think I'm all wet on that, or does that make sense to you?
It definitely makes sense to me. When you were describing Tiffany's, I actually couldn't stop thinking about the brand K. That advertisement that's like every gift begins with K, I
Yeah,
think.
what do you think about that? That's a great, yeah, tell us about it.
I think that they've done a really great job because even that like slogan, even that tagline, um, like puts their brand in your mind when you even start shopping for something. So I think Tiffany's has done a great job with the specific clientele that they have. Like I view Tiffany's as a little bit more of a upper end brand, but I think Kay really hit the nail on like how to just put your product and in your brand in the mind of like a general consumer. So I don't know, even when you brought up jewelry, that was what I thought of immediately. So
Yeah, so boy, this is really good, right? So I know I didn't realize this initially, but since learned there seems to be a lot of pressure on campus for young ladies to get rings. Is that true? I don't know. I
Maybe a
just,
little realistic.
oh, okay. Well, I'm just saying that I just heard that was a thing. But Ellie, picking up on your statement, every right? I mean, they spent millions of dollars so that you can have this roll off your tongue. Every kiss begins with K. How do you think K is doing a better job, maybe, than some other jewelers that are in a similar category? What would you say? Are there other jewelers in that space that aren't necessarily high end, but they maybe come to mind better than some of the other jewelry stores?
I feel like I'm a bad person to ask just because I only wear earrings.
Okay.
But I think in regards to that, I know that another brand that isn't as high end, but is definitely marketed to like my age is probably Kendra Scott, I would say.
Okay.
Um, it's a little bit more affordable. I know that my friend, actually Kendra, she is always getting whatever birthday gift that they have. They have like some sort of discount or whatever for your birthday. And it's a pretty significant discount. So I think that's another brand that I think of that has really identified the age and the affordability of their target group. So
Man, that's excellent. Yeah, so that is really well said. So you feel like they have a good understanding of their target market segment. Um, and do you feel like Kendra Scott? Uh, I don't know anything about it other than I'm just aware of it. How do you think they might be um, embracing Levitt's advice in marketing myopia?
Um, I think one example in prioritizing like their customers is a lot of their designs are a lot more simple and they're like everyday jewelry that you would wear. So I think they're keeping that in mind that with the specific age group of like kind of a younger audience, like high school to upper 30s, they're probably wanting to wear jewelry every day, not for just flashy occasions. So a lot of their designs are simple. Um, Again, I mentioned affordability. I think that is a really big component is investing in good quality jewelry, but also not breaking the bank. Um, those are some ways I think they've prioritized what their customers need or want. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. You had mentioned that they provide a significant discount for people's birthdays. Do you think that maybe, because of that, and maybe other types of offerings that they have, that Kendra Scott is attempting to extend their sort of reach and their target audience beyond simply a transaction?
I would argue yes, because they're placing stake in like someone's everyday experiences or things that are routine in their experience, being a birthday. Like birthdays are very important to people. And so I think they've also given initiative for their customers to purchase gifts for themselves on their birthday. So it's not even just putting it in the mindset of like a gift, but it's also just an average consumption thing that they now have their hands on because it's a little bit more affordable on a special day. Um, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Well, thank you, Ellie. That was really, really good insight. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
Val, are you there, sir?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you, Dr. Ross?
I am okay. I've had my second cup of Pike's Place via coffee. It's in a little powdery thing. You just have to kind of
Mm.
open it up and I'm suffering out here. It's not like a regularly brewed kind of Starbucks, but I'm sort of managing. So, Val, if you could extend Dr. Levitt's advice around maybe another product or service category, what would be a product or service category that you would think about that either has done a really good job or maybe done a not so good job heeding Dr. Levitt's advice?
I've been actually sitting here and thinking about cases when Dr. Levitt is wrong. And
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Talk about it. That's interesting.
so, he pushes for this thing where you're not supposed to be product oriented, but customer oriented. So you're inherently sort of trying to do everything that they want, that you can sell to them, that you think you can do good. Good. That's the big part, just good. I think there's a point in maybe brand development or product development. It also may be a cultural thing, but I think when you get to a point where you are just the best in the world, like I'm thinking of Ferrari, the only thing Ferrari does is sport cars, and it's been doing that thing for like 100 years.
Right.
And they're not gonna do anything else, no matter what their customers say,
Yeah.
and they are not gonna fail. Like that's just a fact, because their brand is so strong and they're just so incredibly good at what they do, at their product, not satisfying their customers, but at their product. And that's what their customers want because they're so good. So I don't think Levitt's advice necessarily applies to that sort of companies.
Wow, I really, number one, I really like the fact, Val, that you are willing to challenge the thinking of Dr. Levitt. I love that. That's great. What do you think Ferrari is selling?
They're selling more than cars or anything. They're selling status.
Okay. Yeah. So what do you think is sort of the experience that you believe they are trying to create in a buyer's mind?
Experience.
Yeah. So if I'm a buyer or a potential buyer and I'm looking at Ferrari, what might be sort of the self-talk that a potential buyer might engage in based upon, they're thinking, wow, I've got $300,000 laying around. I might want to go buy a Ferrari. What do you think that person is telling themselves?
Uh, well, from one, it would be something along the way. It's the best in the world, I bet. It's a sports car, it looks great. It sounds great. It feels great. I love the red color or something like that. And I mean, I think if you buy the right model, I think it is actually an investment because it will appreciate. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I like one of the things that you said. So when if we look through the lens of what Levitt is saying, um, you would say they're not just, hey, yeah, we sell cars. I think what you might be arguing is to not be myopic is but open the aperture would be more around, hey, listen, we're selling an experience. We're selling the experience of being able to, I'm not, by the way, I'm not saying this is great, but you could say, well, I'm selling the experience of being able to tell the world, look at me, I'm awesome, look what I did. And aren't you just a little jealous that you don't have a red Ferrari, right?
Mm.
Um, so I think you're right. Um, thank you, Val. That is awesome. That was really good. Caleb,
Hello.
how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. A little tired, but we're making it through. Probably not as tired as you because you're on the other
Good.
side of the world, but
Oh no, it's 9:22. My body still thinks it's 9:22, so that's okay.
that's fair.
So let's look at what Val said. It was interesting. He basically questioned the advice um, that Levitt suggested relative to the brand Ferrari.
Hmm.
So so let's put our research hats on again. What would be a good research question that we could ask, let's say, Ferrari executives that would make them maybe question whether they have defined their audience and what they offer too narrowly?
Hmm. Well, I guess one thing that comes to my mind when you say that is like a lot of it does come down to the numbers, like what those look like, depending on like how much they need to change. Um, because if Ferrari's succeeding and they're bringing in more people, then what they're doing is working. But if they're not, then adapting and changing is important. Ferrari is interesting because, as Val was saying, they kind of just sell an image
Yeah,
and like something that you want to strive to be rather than something that's like affordable and like you can just go purchase out of nowhere, kind of mindlessly.
yes.
Um, but one thing that I would bring up is like maybe their target audience is so thin that maybe they could potentially reach an audience that's smaller for um, just to grow in a way that they might not see right now. Um, the problem is then it's not as exclusive, and so then that might affect their image.
Man, that is excellent analysis. So based upon that, one question that we could potentially ask Ferrari executives, Caleb, is have you ever thought about making a Ferrari for the masses?
Hmm.
Um, so maybe the research question is there a market segment that would very much like to own a car that is somehow associated with the Ferrari brand, but is in a price um, category which is affordable for more people?
Hmm.
Yeah, let's thank you, Caleb. That was awesome. So,
Yeah.
Caroline,
Yes.
here's the big question.
Okay.
Okay, so let's say you are in front of the um, top executives at Ferrari, okay, and they ask you, they say, hey, Caroline, we are thinking about offering a more affordable, economical version of Ferrari. What do you think? What would you tell them? Like, good idea, bad idea. If it's good, here's why. If it's bad, here's why.
Yeah, so I'm not really a car person and I don't know much about Ferrari, but I think Caleb and Val made really good points that like they're known for their luxury product and being specifically race cars. So I don't know how, making a more affordable option would affect that image. But I think a lot of other car brands do have affordable cars and then have their more sporty luxury cars on top of that. Um, so I guess it depends on where they want to lean. Do they want to stay exclusive or are they trying to reach a larger market? So I guess I would have to ask them that question first. So to see, where
I
they
love
want to
that.
go. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great, right? So and I love that you're answering a question with the question. In your opinion, though, Caroline, do you think it would be a good idea? Let's skip Ferrari. Let's say Mercedes. Everybody knows Mercedes. Do you think Mercedes should offer more of you know, a more economical kind of car where, it would compete with a Toyota Corolla or a Honda Civic, that kind of stuff?
I personally would say no. I think that if we're talking about Mercedes, like they're already competing with maybe other brands like BMW and like other maybe nicer cars in that category. Um, so yeah, I would say probably not.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But I imagine we could do some research to be able to determine. I think Caleb mentioned the numbers. We could at least sort of project the um, what the profitability or non-profitability of, let's say, Mercedes offering a car that would be competitive with like a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla. We could do that, couldn't we? And then that might be some additional evidence to help us say, well, not only instinctively do I feel like it's a bad idea, but the data seems to bear it out, and we would, be able to use those pieces of data to be able to either confirm or dispute our instincts, right? All right, well done. Okay. Well, you guys, I can tell that at least the people I talked with read the article, and so bravo. Um, if I didn't call on you, doesn't mean that I don't think you read it. I'm just um, suggesting that it's really important for you to do that. And again, to think about it within the context of marketing research and not simply, accepting as a fact that Levitt provided advice relative to not being myopic, but starting to challenge that, as several of you did, and think about what are the questions that I would craft that would help me sort of challenge the advice that Levitt suggested. So I think that's one of the most important things we can do in higher education is challenge assumptions. So bravo. Great, great job. Well, let's switch gears. I am going to share my screen and we're going to talk about our project and then in particular some of the many, well, not some of all of the many projects that we're going to be doing this semester. So, can you guys see my screen okay? All right, so let's look at the syllabus. Again, this is in Discovery. You guys are going to be doing 7 mini group projects. We talked a little bit about this earlier this week. The mini projects will be working with Jennifer McCord. She is, I'm sure, as you all know, the VP responsible for marketing and enrollment at Asbury. And really, the question that she has is we as a university through the marketing Stratcom department do a lot of marketing types and to different audiences in different ways in order to hopefully inform and ultimately persuade prospective um, college students to consider Asbury. And so what she is asking us to do is to determine or at least inform of all the different types of marketing programs and activities that Asbury could be involved in, which of them seem to be most influential in moving excuse me, a prospective student from prospect to, yes, I'm enrolled and I am matriculating into Asbury, let's say as a freshman. So that's sort of the overarching project that we're going to be working on. Here are the 7 different projects. So number one, each of the groups, you guys are going to be developing research questions and hypotheses. By the way, just the sidebar. Whoops. Where are our, here's our groups. Make this a little bigger. Hopefully you guys have seen this, but if you want to take a picture of this as well. Um, so this first, actually, well, let's just stay here. This first mini project due next week is developing research questions and hypotheses. So Eleanor, just by way of just sort of brainstorming here, what do you think could be some potential hypotheses that we might consider when we're thinking about, I wonder which of the marketing activities that we're engaged in seem to be most influential?
For the university as a whole.
Yeah, so for the university, Uh,
Yeah.
Jennifer does lots of different things through Stratcom. So, what would be maybe 1 or 2 hypotheses that you might have that would say, I believe this, whatever this is most influential in driving new students?
Yeah, so me and Ellie work a lot on social media campaigns for the university, like how potential students view the university as well as if they see themselves coming here in the future. So ultimately, what we do is focus on what the university offers.
So do they want community? Are they focusing on academics post grad, or is it the Christian university aspect that they're looking for? So it could definitely be a hypothesis, could be where they place themselves in a social group when coming to the university, and also what the outlook is, what they're looking for after
Oh,
leaving the
man, I
university.
love that. Okay,
So,
so if you would talk a little bit more about where they see themselves in the community, what would be maybe a hypothesis that you would assert that we would test?
yeah, so last year we originally thought that it was the Christian community aspect they were looking for, but it was actually post-grad opportunities. So most times they place themselves in professionally, like where they want to be, what group they fall into is most likely what they're looking for when coming here, for sure.
Wow, that's great. So, what would be some examples that you could think of where they would say, yeah, I see myself professionally in various excuse me, categories. Do you know what would be some of those examples?
Yeah, a lot of students after coming in initially actually switch their major to like business. So they place themselves professionally in a different setting. So a lot of them go from media communications, that department, and move to marketing. So it could be they want a creative aspect and they come in wanting to be really creative minded and then actually change into more of a business setting. Another one is they change from the media communications to the Christian studies and that realm. So I think they see themselves initially being wanting the college lifestyle and actually change to thinking more post-grad. So those are the two that we see normally when marketing specifically to those incoming students.
Yeah, so we could even potentially pose those questions in a way that if, let's say, we were able to talk to rising seniors in high school right now, we could ask them, we could craft questions and hypotheses that would allow us to maybe predict if you have, let's say, two different high school seniors, and we would say, well, I'm 90% sure that this student A, will come to Asbury because of, X, Y, and Z, but student B, based upon what we asked them and what we believe is sort of a predictive model on whether a student will come to Asbury or not, we would say, yeah, based upon the way student B answered these questions, they're probably not going to come to Asbury, and here's why. Yeah, we could do that, right? All right, great job, Eleanor. Awesome. So that is just sort of, an example of the deliverable for mini group project number one due next week. Um, the second mini group project, let me go back to actually, oh, it's project three. All right. I'm going to hit all of them here pretty soon. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. Mini group project number two. Each group, this is due, these are due on week four. Developing formalized research processes. Okay. So what is the purpose? The purpose is to help students learn how to systematically gather, evaluate, and apply secondary research to support marketing decisions. So, in this case, we already have a data extract from Stratcom, and I have not shown that to you yet. I will unveil that on Wednesday. I believe Jennifer McCord's going to spend some time with us So I will unveil that data at that time. So each of the groups will develop a formalized secondary research process. Okay. And so what do I mean by that? What I mean is that um, sort of like biology or maybe chemistry, we need to have a systematic order in which we look at a data set and develop hypotheses and then have a process which ideally is documented and repeatable so we could conduct that research today in Wilmore and then we could do it next week um, in Rome, Italy, and we would have a similar data set, and we should be able to develop similar results because the integrity of the research process allows us to have similar data sets and conduct analysis in an identical way, and then be able to compare the two results based upon the fact that we have confidence in the research process. So, for example, here in Mini Project 2, um, develop a 5 to 7 page APA 7 formatted report that outlines a formalized secondary research plan. So number one, we're going to harken back to our first mini group project, define 3 to 5 research objectives. Secondly, we're going to again harken back to the first mini group project. What were your key research questions, right? One example might be what enrollment trends are occurring among private faith-based universities in the 250-mile radius of Asbury University, and have online and hybrid programs affected enrollment demand. Okay. There might be additional secondary research data sources. So, for example, in the data set, what I do know is those applicants at that time, they identified what state they're from. So that would be a whole uh, different piece of our data set that we could enrich what we get from Jennifer McCord, because while we have an understand or we know where people are applying, where they live, there might be some dynamics within each of those states that might make a particular state or students within a particular state be more or less likely to come to Asbury, right? So that would be an additional piece of data, the census data. Pretty sure we can get access to higher ed reports based upon subscriptions that I think we have at Asbury. So we could use that data as well to enrich what we get from Jennifer McCord. Excuse me, we could also look at competing university websites, right? So I think one of the expectations would be that each of the groups would be able to identify likely colleges and universities that would be in the consideration set of a rising high school senior who is thinking about going to school in a particular community, in a particular environment to achieve some particular professional goal, right? So again, mini group project 2, step-by-step secondary research process. You can read all of this in Discovery, but this, as we talked about a little bit before, this project is predicated on the prior project. So each one of these mini group projects build upon the prior so that at the end of the semester we have a completed piece of work, if you will. Okay. Let me switch to mini group project 3. Here we go. So what is this one about? Clean and analyze data. So, Val, I know you and I are both Microsoft Excel experts, right? So,
Wouldn't go as far as saying that, but you definitely are.
well, is it possible, Val, that we might get data either from Jennifer McCord or other resources, excuse me, sources outside of Jennifer McCord's shop that may not be pristine data that might need to be cleansed or scrubbed in some way so that we can properly analyze it?
Um, well, from VP McCord, yes, it would probably be intentional, and but from everywhere else, yeah, definitely we can get some unstructured data.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you said the big word, unstructured data. Yes. So that's going to be one of our challenges that we're going to learn to deal with this semester is we're going to all learn to look at unstructured data and then develop sort of a protocol or a methodology to take that unstructured data and put it into some form or structure so that we can include it in our ultimate analysis, right? So um, that is precisely right. What is the deliverable? Um, Deliverable is each group again will submit a 4 to 5 page APA 7 formatted report plus a clean data file. So you will take the data file from Jennifer McCord, and then you'll also work on secondary data sources that, like you said, Val, some of the data sources will be unstructured data, which you'll have to put in some kind of structured format. Others, hopefully, like for example, census data would be in a structured format and would be much easier to deal with when we pull our data set into Excel or SPSS and do different types of statistical testing. All right, so I'm watching my time here. I think we got a couple minutes. So that is project 3. Um, here we go. Project 4. What is our objective? So develop a formal presentation for executive review. So the due date on that is March 7th. So I know that seems like a long ways away. But remember, our objective is you guys are going to be presenting to Jennifer McCord, and I'm working on getting Dr. Brown and maybe Dr. Powers to be there as well. So that the goal is you guys can provide some valuable insight for them as they think about strategic planning for the 26-27 academic year. Okay. So, this mini group project number 4 is simply pulling together that presentation, 10 to 12 slides. Okay. Um, Now, one of the things that you'll see here in a minute, project 4 is simply the assembly of that presentation, including what's on the slides, speaker notes, rehearsal, and so on. And then just kind of extending on 5 through 7. Where'd you go? Here we go. So 5 through 7 is basically, shoot, I pulled up the wrong file. 5 through 7, mini groups, project 5 through 7 is you're going to, project 4, you develop the presentations. Uh, present or project 5 is you present your results. Mini group project 6 is you take in the feedback from Dr. Brown, um, Dr. Powers, and Jennifer McCord and update your slides based upon their feedback. And then ultimately, project 7 is your submission of the excuse me, your final uh, recommendations report. So the good news is to sort of zoom out and summarize. 1 through 4 is basically pulling together all of the information and generating insights based upon your analysis. And then 5 through 7 are refining that presentation based upon feedback from Dr. Brown and others. And then for the ultimate delivery that they can take your results and present it to the Board of Trustees. And I think that as smart as all of you are, that you should produce something that is worthy of presentation to our board. So, all right, I'm going to stop sharing. I know you guys have all got to head to chapel, but I appreciate all of you. This is being recorded, so I will post this recording in Discovery associated with this week 1 in Discovery, so you can go back and review it. So, any questions before we sign off? All right. Well, it looks like Ellie is like the bravest one. You have your video on. I'm just so proud of you. I think everybody else might be in their, uh, bunny slippers and jammies. So that's maybe why they don't have their, you know, they don't have their camera on. Or in the case of, actually, Megan was driving. So please, Megan, don't drive with your camera on. Okay, don't make me have to worry about you with that. So, all right. Blessings to you all. We don't meet Monday because Monday is Martin Luther King uh, Observation Day, but I will see you on Wednesday. Okay. All right. Blessings. See you then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.